I already did. We're live.
You always do that to me.
Welcome back, everybody. Live
Welcome.
takeover.
Live Takeover Scale Builders Guild. Welcome, everyone.
Yes, Harley Designs. Tonight we have another guest. Is that 2 weeks in a row? 3.
That's 2 weeks. It's
I think it's 2.
I think it's 2. I don't think we had anybody 3 weeks ago.
I don't think so either. I think either way. But tonight
I'd like to. Yeah, go ahead, please.
Tonight we're going to have Tony Phelan on from Tamiya.
Tamiya.
We're going to figure out how many ways we can mispronounce Tamiya tonight.
There's another one already.
I like that. That is my preference.
I would like to thank YouTube for getting their business together tonight.
You know what? I sent an email
until about 20 minutes ago. It was looking a little dodgy.
I called the 800 number, said, "Hey, I have a stream at 6."
1-800-YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Duh. Obviously.
Brett, that's how his shirt looks. There's nothing wrong with your picture.
No, it looks,
It's just the contrast between the white and the rest of your background. It's pretty hot.
Am I making you thirsty?
Yeah. I want my drink in a 90s. It's always like a slushy, right?
See, we had one gas station in town, in my hometown, and it was called the Fina. Even though it wasn't called the Fina, it had been sold like years before, but everyone still called it the Fina.
Okay.
So but that was no matter if you're.
Well, I guess you didn't say it was an interesting story.
No, exactly. One horse town. There wasn't a lot of stuff interesting there. We had one stoplight.
My wife's small town that she grew up in. The newspaper headline one day was that a gust of wind blew through the bar and knocked a beer over. So it's pretty intense.
Yeah, exactly.
Get all your questions ready, people. If you've got Tamiya, or Tamiya related questions, by all means, we're going to be talking a lot about all the good Tamiya, and Tamiya stuff from years gone by and current stuff. And Josh,
we are going to be announcing the new series.
Yes.
That Matt and I are you've obviously seen that we have semis. Matt has a
well, I don't want to brag.
Matt has his sitting very close to uncomfortably close to his face. I keep mine underneath the desk here. And obviously it's going to be, Alex Callett says, "New series. I hope it's something stupid." You're in luck.
Yeah. Wow. It doesn't get any stupider.
Yeah. But Alex, let me say, I think this one will be up your alley. So
yeah,
it doesn't have to
definitely appeal to a lot of people.
Yeah. It doesn't have to do with the Tamiya Yaris, which would be right up Alex's alley, but
right. Yes.
Nonetheless, it's going to be pretty exciting. So, other than that, Matt and I have been talking about this series for quite a while.
We've been teasing it for maybe too long.
Yeah, well, and part of it was waiting on supply of everything. Some stuff from Tamiya, some stuff from the other partner.
Some prima donna wanted to be all fancy.
I wanted one truck.
Well, yeah, you were very choosy. I, however, was like, I'll take whatever you've got in stock.
You did not. You chose one and it happened to be in stock.
Sure. Whatever, Josh.
You even chose one that was pre-painted first. You looked so little.
I know. I was so clueless I was like, I don't know, this one looks pretty good. Wait, it's already done? No, I can't do that. I got to build it.
So,
that would have been embarrassing for me.
Yes, it would have. I tried to get a pre-painted one. It didn't happen.
Right. Well, yeah. You could have bought Tamiya's series of chip brushes. I think they do have a set that you can buy.
I still haven't worn this one.
The problem is they're very narrow. I don't think you'd be ready for 3/4 of an inch Yeah, not quite yet. Hey, brazen scale, I will definitely ask that question because that is an interesting question. But we'll save it until Tony gets on. Um, and Video, I loved Josh's finger blade video. I, I, if you haven't seen it, go to Josh's stories on his Instagram page, Charlie Designs Inc. Uh, he made he made quick work of the finger blade.
Yeah, I had jokes. I
Yeah,
got
quick.
jokes.
He was quite on it with that one. It was good. But you know what? When I wear it, I do feel like that.
Yeah. I was just imagining all the boxes you could be opening.
Wah, woo, wah. If I had 5, actually, if I had 8, I had to count my fingers there. I
Yeah.
think it would be a pretty effective tool.
Are you going to do another build monthly mayhem on the SX24? No plans for that
No,
right now.
no.
We are going to do the SCX24 one. It's just since it's so much smaller, we're going to do $5 a week. No plans for that.
No.
So.
People will. You can pay me to do it.
Right.
Yeah. Hi everybody. Thanks for checking in. Am I the voice on SnowRunner?
There's a voice on SnowRunner?
Yeah, I didn't know there was a voice.
I guess they kind of maybe do they talk about the mission or something like that?
Maybe right at the beginning.
I have SnowRunner on this computer. I played a little bit, which honestly, that's going to be some pretty good practice for our. Well, not really, because
No,
that's like all
zero,
mud.
zero
So
practice.
that's not what we're doing at all.
No, yeah, we're
Trust me.
recreating SnowRunner.
Yeah, we're gonna build semi trucks and put them in the mud.
We're gonna do, yeah. Day 1, ruin it. I spent 4 weeks assembling it and adding the MFU and making it perfect.
Yeah,
and then just get it all muddy.
Yeah, for some reason the vibrating unit doesn't work anymore, and
it doesn't even turn.
Yeah,
you can't even move it.
I can't explain though how excited I'm going to be to get this project going, just because of the amount of boxes that this project has.
Yes.
So gathered.
Back at my workshop, it's already littered with boxes, open boxes, empty boxes, and I can't throw anything away yet.
There's a stack next to me.
In fact, the trailer, because I've already started doing some stuff with it. It's filled with stuff. It's like filled with more boxes.
Yeah. So some of my components did not come in like normal retail packaging. So the ones that didn't, I got rid of those boxes at least, but that still left me a lot of boxes. So
yeah, well, a lot of mine came in retail boxes because they liked me more.
Yeah, they figured they had to give you something to show that was going to be worth.
Well, because I'm so new that they were like, well, if we don't give them random boxes,
we don't have one of these. We don't have one of these that comes pre-assembled instead that we could give him, do we?
Is there any way we could just build this for him?
Yeah, that would make things easier rather than one of these put it together yourself RCs.
He's DIY.
He's not there yet.
DIY, huh? Hello from Australia. Welcome, Race Day every day. The mini me is not on the forum yet, but I'll put it up there eventually. I haven't been doing a lot of forum stuff lately. Oh, here's a good idea. Paul's 1816 thinks monthly mayhem recreating flying cars on a YouTube budget. Most liked creation at the end wins. It's not a bad idea.
Except I would love. Except Matt is an actual filmmaker that does things better than flying cars. I am the epitome of flying cars.
We'll have to ask Tony if he's seen flying cars.
Oh, that's a great idea. So let's bring Tony in.
Let's bring Tony in. Tony, turn off your mute. And here we go. Welcome, Tony.
Unmuted. Hello.
Yay, welcome. So for everybody who doesn't know, why don't you tell everyone who you are and where you're from?
All right. My name is Tony Phelan. I live in Irvine, California, approximately 4 minutes from the Tamiya office. and I basically do all of their web and website updating. We have a third-party company that hosts it and does all that kind of stuff, but we basically manage it from our end. I do a lot of the minor IT work within the company. It's like any other RC company. Everybody kind of wears a lot of different hats. And I do some of the social media posts and some of the builds and some of the photography and some of the video. And yeah, there's just a lot going on.
Oh man, I can only imagine. And it seems like Tamiya is releasing something every week. So surely you've got a lot on the plate.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And you should also tell us a little bit about your history in the RC industry, because by no means is this your first gig.
No, I've been I started racing when I was most people that start racing start young. I started a little older. I was, I think, in my mid-20s. But I've been
get out of here, Grandpa.
Right, yeah, pretty much. But I've been racing everything from 18 scale, 5th scale, 10 scale, 8 scale, motorcycles, boats, pretty much anything that you could race. It didn't start off that way. It was more of just playing with them. But then, you get two people together and it's a race. So I've worked at one of the RC Driver magazine. I've worked at Team Associated. I've been sponsored by a couple big companies. So I've kind of actually done like a full loop in the whole industry, ending up here at Tamiya, which is by far one of the best places to work for sure.
Oh, that's amazing.
Well, they sure don't go by the beat of anybody else's drum. So
I think I remember somebody saying,
yeah,
that's the Tamiya way.
Yeah, I may have referred to that sentiment a number of times in a few reviews that I've done for Tamiya products, and that's totally true. And it's actually, in my opinion, a badge of honor, rather than zig when everyone, rather than zag when everyone's zagging. Tamiya definitely zigs, and they do things their own way and have done some pretty spectacular things. And I think for most of the people who are watching, we can all agree that there has been a Tamiya in our stable of RCs a number of times over the whole lifetime of this hobby that we've been in. And it's certainly where I kind of started with this hobby and then restarted with this hobby when I got into my late 20s.
And I guess I didn't even realize it, but yeah, like my first I don't know, most of my first ones were all to me. Like the very first one I ever had was a TXT. That was my first hobby grade RC.
Yep.
Then I had Clodbusters, because I dove right into crawling when crawling was just starting, but Clodbusters and TXTs were what you used. And then the TLT came out and really opened up another world to us.
Yeah.
It wasn't until Axial that we really had many other options. There was some little ones like, the PTI Goliath and a couple of other the mini giant way back in the day, small scale, whole nother thing. But yeah, they were everything. That was all we had. Right.
I mean, for me, I started with a TT01. I think that was one of my first, like an on-road, rally, or not rally car, but touring car. But the Monster Beetle was the thing that got me into this hobby to begin with. I saw that promotional video running on the VHS VCR TV combo, and I was hooked. I was like, oh man, I forget about trains. I'm done. Get me one of those. And then again, when I got back into the hobby, I started with the Tundra High Lift. So, I mean, it's sort of been full circle for me. And Tony, I'm kind of curious about what your first Tamiya was. And you know what? Whoever's watching, put your first Tamiya kit in the chat.
People are going there's all kinds of people that was their first.
I got to think that back in the day, like my first experience with an RC car was that's a good, kind of a funny story, was my dad got a Super Champ. And he wouldn't let me touch it, wouldn't let me build it, wouldn't let me do anything. I got to sit and watch. And I watched him put the whole thing together, put the stickers on. It was the one that had that reservoir in the back and the big knobby tires and like the fiberglass chassis, all the aluminum. I think weighed like 40 pounds. And it had the wiper speed controller back then. So, the day came to give it a drive. We went out to the front yard. He put it down. And again, with the wiper speed control, it was full on or full off. I mean, there was a little bit of in between, but when you put the brake on, there was no brake. So he gave it throttle, not ever driving an RC car before, gave it throttle. It took off. It scared him, I think. He put it in reverse, and it immediately went backwards and ran into a concrete and like cinder block little retaining wall we had next to the garden and broke the rear end off.
Oh.
Snapped the aluminum. And that car went into the closet, never to be seen again. And that was my first experience. And I knew at that time, I got to have one of these. This is so cool.
Yeah, this seems
went
fun.
literally like about 20 seconds, but it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen, and I needed to have a car. My first Tamiya car was the Subaru Brat. That was actually my first RC car, and it was the Subaru Brat. Yeah, I still have it. It's out in the garage.
Oh, no kidding. That's amazing.
It has that Futaba with the wheel, and then
it looked like a stick radio, but it had the wheel on it.
I still
box
got
with just a wheel on it, right?
Yep, it has the original crystals in it. It has the little funny battery case that went in there. Yeah, I still got the whole original setup in the garage.
That is amazing. And one of the greatest things I think about Tamiya is that they do offer so many re-releases. So you can go into a store today and buy one of the kits that you lusted after when you were a kid and build it. It's exactly the same. Not much has changed. A different ESC and motor quality and servos, of course, but it's basically the same thing. And there's so much nostalgia around that company that it would have been a real shame if they had decided never to re-release stuff. So pretty amazing that they do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I guess I wasn't. Someone had asked in here that there was such thing, or there is such thing as a Tamiya Con.
There was back in the day. I'm not too familiar with it, but I think it was kind of like a Comic-Con kind of deal. You showed up and they had a bunch of display vehicles. They had some like tank demos and that kind of stuff. I'm not too familiar with it, but I have been kind of digging through the archives to kind of look at stuff to post, and I have seen folders with a bunch of Tamiya Con photos and stuff like that at the Tamiya track.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Is the track still open and functioning in the U.S.?
It is not. It was up for sale for about 10 years maybe. We knew it someday somebody was going to come and swoop it up, and the day came. They purchased it, and the actual building that was right next to it was the original Tamiya building. Tamiya needed to downsize. We were moving our warehousing services to LA, so we didn't need this gigantic warehouse. So we got a smaller building, but the track stayed because they were two separate properties. But somebody came in and purchased it, and now it's a self-storage unit.
Nuts.
And you can go by there and see it, and like I've been by there, and it's kind of sad because you still see kind of the layout of where the track was. Everything's gone, but you can see the layout of where the track was and the cliff that kind of overlooked the house. It's some good memories there for sure.
I can imagine. Yeah, definitely.
Can you get me the personal email address to whoever designed the Dancing Rider? I have a gift basket and an edible arrangement that I need to get sent to him.
I was going to say, he's going to send an edible arrangement to the guy.
Tell you what, why don't you send that to me and I'll make sure it gets
there.
I mean, there'll be a few pieces of pineapple missing. None of the chocolate strawberries.
There's a 2-week quarantine time, but other than that.
It'll be a little turn.
It's amazing just how out of nowhere that little thing was, and it's the most incredible RC. Like
it really is. Surprisingly, works really good.
It works amazing.
Really fun.
They're so much fun to drive.
For something that I thought was ridiculous when Josh first started, talking about these, and I was like, this is not a thing. But then I realized it's very much a thing.
Yeah.
They are so fun.
We every year we go to the Long Beach Grand Prix, do a demo at the Long Beach Grand Prix. And we've had before a large area where we had track set up. So we drove all of the different cars on track. Well, last year was COVID. The year prior, we went away from a track and we put a mini 4-wheel drive track out. So we basically had a small tabletop with which to drive cars, and we brought those. And we were all kind of bummed because we're RC drivers. We're not mini 4-wheel drivers. But we got about 4 of these things. Excuse me. We got about 4 of these things, put them on this track, and set up a little track with things to swerve around, to kind of bounce over. We had the best time. We were laughing so hard we were crying. It was so fun. And it was the smallest little, like a 4x6 table or something like that. But we had so much fun with them.
Yes, they are incredible. No matter what if you get two of those things together, it's the best time ever. So,
okay, I've got to ask a question.
Okay.
This is coming from Brazen RC.
Oh, Matt froze on us, I think.
Wah,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like,
wah.
he's either really thinking hard about this question, or it was like he just left us.
Matt.
You know? he probably lost power or something like that again. We'll go to one of the questions here.
Okay.
Let's see. Can you ask Tony? Can do a Cromwell RC 1/16 tank next? Oh, I see. I don't know anything about tanks, so that was all. It is amazing how diverse the line of things Tamiya has. Tamiya, the tanks, the 1/14 trucks, and then the racing side. That's a whole nother. Oh, so the Canadian YouTube went back down. Someone says, I think he's joking. But it's amazing to see, like, they have some really competitive racing stuff too, right? Yeah. Hold on a second, Tony. I think I have audio issue because his after Matt's cut out, it has caused an issue there. Say something now.
Hello.
There we go. I have issue. Okay.
We good?
Yeah. Sorry. So we were talking about the competitive Tamiya cars.
Right. So I had never had a competitive Tamiya car. So when I started working, I said, okay, I got to have one of these. I race touring car. That's probably the class I love the most. I'm going to get one of these. So at the time, the 419 XR was their high-end touring car. I picked one of those up, built it. First time on the track, I was absolutely amazed by how wonderful this car is. Now, it is probably much as most other touring cars.
I am back. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yay!
Totally died on me.
Yeah, that was fun. He was in the middle of talking about his 419 Tamiya touring car, and so
yeah. So they're a little bit more expensive, but after driving it, after tuning it, out of the box the car was flat out amazing, and I understand why. There's I don't know what the difference is. I mean, I've built all these different cars and I've run them, and when I ran the Tamiya car, it was flat out amazing. So I don't know if it's something with the quality, something with the engineering. I don't know, but it is, and to this day I'm still running it, and it is still flat out phenomenal.
That's that's a side of I've never actually raced either on road or off road other than solid axle vehicles of some sort. I've never done short course or buggies, truggy, any of it. So I've always just seen these Tamiya kits and the price range that some of them have and how it looks like these things are built, and it's always been to me something I'm like, I wouldn't mind picking one of those up just for the build experience. Now I have to ask, do those extremely high-end Tamiya kits come with freaking bearings?
Oh yeah, they do. They're basically they come with every hop up. They're like buying a Tamiya car and then adding all the hop ups.
That's
to
good.
Them. They come with everything: the best shocks, the best anti-roll bars, the best chassis. I mean everything.
And,
you're basically getting a fully hopped up car.
Still sure, JIS screws or.
No, they're the socket head screws.
No. If I can't use a Philip, if I can't use a JIS screwdriver for everything on the car, I'm out.
Sorry about those technical difficulties, everybody, but we're back. The question I wanted to ask, and this is probably why everything crashed, Brazen RC wanted to know why, after all of these years, does Tamiya still use the Tamiya connector?
I would love to have an answer for that. but unfortunately, I think it has to do with the way the speed controls are made in Japan. That is just the way from what I understand, a lot of the stuff that we get here in the U.S. stems from Japan first. So what the what they use over there is basically what we get. So we don't really have a say as to getting a different plug or put on those things. No. All of the ones that we get here for replacement parts are all with that white Tamiya plug. I just don't think there's any way around that until Japan decides there's a more popular plug that they want to use.
That is one thing. Is as stubborn as us Americans can be. The Japanese.
That's a whole.
The Japanese.
That's a whole.
They will rival the best of the stubborn. Hey, Quack RC, thank you for the $3. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and thank you, Quack RC, for the $3 over here too. Brazen RC suggested that maybe you guys ordered like 100 trillion of them in 1981, and you still have them. And you're like, well, just better keep using them.
That's not far from being, a weird thought. It could very well be.
Yeah, exactly.
These are going to be popular. Let's order 100 trillion of them.
That's
we're gonna take the world by storm with this very, very strange calendar. But that's a more of a joke question. I'm sure.
That's the thing is, like, I remember back in the day, like, you'd see someone running the white Tamiya connector, and you'd be like, "Man, you're still running those," and
you gotta get rid of.
And now I see a Dean's plug, and I'm like, "Oh,
hey,
still running Dean's?"
I have some Dean's.
Yeah, I've got this car right here, the new VQS20. Yep. When I opened this 2020, I opened that up to do the unboxing video, and I saw the white plug on the speed control. It made me think of my Subaru Brat that I got in the 90s with the wiper speed control that had the white plug on it.
Yeah, that's I think I had an ESC here the other day that I was using, and I pulled it. I was like, "Oh my, look at that!" It takes you back a little every time.
Yeah. Well, Josh, once you start opening this, once you start opening the semi box, you will find there is an ESC in there, and it does have a Tamiya.
Let's
connector.
Slowly walk into the new project, but not fully.
Yeah, that's a good idea. No, okay, fine. So obviously, oh boy, here we go.
Matt. Yeah, we have seen that Matt and I will be building semis and accompanying trailers. But the reason that I wanted to pull this up is just because of the unboxing experience that is still so nice.
Tamiya doesn't.
It's just such a cool.
It's like, what? I think the King Hauler has been around for a number of years now, and it's a lot like some of the Riris because they all come in those really cool, like, segregated boxes and packages, and
like the almost
such a great
blister
experience.
pack style, and the rails up there with the. God, it's just so cool. Like,
it is really
I
cool.
really like that. I really just something about that.
And I think we can all say it together. It's the Tamiya way.
You are going
Nobody
to
else.
I am what?
You are going to open that?
Yes, most definitely.
You're kind of lusting over it a little bit, like maybe it's never going to.
I know. Well, there is some things about it that I'm not going to open. Like these frame rails. These frame rails they're actually just going to stay in this box. Because I may have already gone quite overboard on some of the enormous amount of aftermarket options available for these Tamiya semis.
It's true. There are a lot of aftermarket parts, mostly for the US or the American style ones. The Euro ones, not as many options because in Europe they treat their trucks with respect and don't ruin them.
I decided to pick up a set of stretched frame rails. And I'm now quite concerned that the truck itself won't fit on my bench.
Well, I mean, the trailer barely fits on my bench. I've got a very small bench.
These frame rails are 22.5 inches long, 23.5 inches long. And I went to 28-inch frame rails.
Oh,
Jeez. I can't wait to see the fat stacks.
Oh, I tried to find the largest diameter. I think I went with 13 millimeter. So
why'd you stop?
that
at
was the
13?
largest ones I could find.
I'm sure you could just go to Home Depot or Lowe's and get some plumbing pipe.
We'll see.
2.5-inch diameter.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I'm so I did buy so when we started this thing, I wrote up a document between Matt and I, and then we sent it off to Tony to have a discussion within his office. And somehow they agreed to this madness. And we're like, oh. So I had chosen a truck and I was looking at the Grand Hauler, which I didn't necessarily know that the Grand Hauler and the King Hauler were so close. But once we found the Grand Hauler just wasn't going to be in time, went ahead and just switched to the King Hauler. But I was just like, oh, well, I'll just get longer frame rails anyway then. And then big rear fenders and
it's going to look so weird.
It's going to be so cool.
And the driving experience is going to be so much more challenging for you, I think, too.
Well,
RCing Around America made a very good point here. He said that your semi is going to have a Tekin 3.5 turn drag motor, and mine'll have a 55 turn,
right?
Which is 100% correct. I am going to put a 55 turn in mine because Tony, I don't know. Do you have much experience with the semis at all?
Other than the fact that we have like 100 of them in the office sitting for display, no.
Wow. I feel like I'd like to go to
you know what? I'm not that far from
do a little tour of that facility.
The first time I walked in there, it's like a museum. Well, at the old office, when you walked in, there was glass cases with just cars. They were swapping cars all the time. But when we moved, we don't have those glass cases, but we have cubicles, and on the top of the cubicles are all those like file cabinet things. So there's just a couple hundred cars sitting on top of all these file cabinets. It really is. I mean, it's some older stuff. It really is kind of cool.
Oh, that's
man.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think of. I'm just trying to think of dusting all of them. Oh. I have 14 shelves here, and I'm just like, gah.
Yeah, the trick is don't dust.
That's what we found works best. Yes.
Yeah, that's the right technique. Perry G, thanks for the $5. He wants to know, Tony, are they going to re-release the pre-CW01 Pajero chassis? I'm sure Tony won't be able to tell you what re-re's are coming, but it is interesting. How is it that, or do you have any insight into how Tamiya decides on what's going to be re-released?
Not really. It's a Japanese thing. When they feel like they want something to come out or something new or something re-released, most of the re-releases that come out either have an updated sticker sheet or some updated parts, some of the things that were a little kind of an issue with the first versions. They'll come up with an updated version of it. So a lot of the changes aren't big.
But I remember, I think the Avante was a pretty significant re-release, right? When that came back out, it was pretty reworked to become.
Yeah, I think, and that has to do a lot with the machining of what some of the parts or molds. I know that they still have most of the molds for everything, but I don't know if, maybe there's the parts are getting a little sloppy. So instead of creating a new mold of something, we're just going to create a new mold. We got to create a new mold anyway. Let's just update it.
Can you imagine they have to pull out the old slide rule documents and stuff and go, okay, let's make this again.
Exactly. Yeah, some of those old molds.
So you want a monster beetle, do you? Well, here you go.
Just the casting that they've done of so many parts, which is,
oh yeah,
it's just a whole different level.
Because there's not a lot of carryover. That's the thing about. I feel there isn't with a lot of other manufacturers nowadays, say Losi or Traxxas or whatever, Traxxas especially, because they're sort of every part goes on every single
Right.
vehicle.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But with Tamiya, you're like, I don't know, man. If we're gonna make a 6x6, we better put 25 or 26 gears in there.
And
Right?
I do think the servo saver swap over between cars.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, that's a good cost saving for sure.
Yeah.
I think. I'm not sure.
That's they've got their use out of some of their molds. That white bushing mold.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
I think we're pretty close to our gonna hit our peak numbers here for viewership, Matt. I think we should just.
Sure. Okay.
Why don't
Fine.
you go ahead and
While
outline
Tony
it.
is here. Okay, so while Tony is here, we definitely want to thank Tamiya for their generosity in helping Josh and I create something that we think is going to be pretty cool. What we've decided to do here is it's a loose challenge in that there will be some driving elements to this challenge of these semis and being able to maneuver them around some obstacles. But the main portion of this build for Josh and I is that we're going to be creating mobile PCs that are within these RC semis. So we're calling it the RC PC.
Yes.
We've got a logo and everything. But EVGA is the other partner involved in this, and they've been very gracious. And along with Tamiya sending us the semis, the trailers, and these really awesome MFUs, which really kind of make the whole truck sing, if you will. They've sent along enough parts to build a functional gaming PC.
Yes.
And the idea here is to try and hide all of these components within the trailer and the cab and have a functional PC. So
yeah, we've got mini ITX motherboards from EVGA, Core i5 Intel processors. They're going to be water cooled. They've got graphics cards as well. They're
full-on graphics cards too, not like onboard graphics. No. It's a full-on gaming quality PC.
Yes.
It's the video
and
card
all
right
within the PC. Matt and I we're only going to just start on the build. We've kind of started mocking things up. I'm going to reach over and do a very precarious movement here, but
yeah, I'll try to do the same thing here. I showed Tony this just before we got started on the stream, but this is we've got, and the great thing about this challenge for me is that my trailer is a two-parter. So the trailer and the whole container are separate units. So I can actually like the container off and just have a PC on my desk, which is really cool.
I cannot. I have a full Tamiya semi-trailer that I will be. I think that it will actually be best to drive it around.
Yeah. The great thing about this is that, you know, you can sort of imagine driving it around, having a great time with it, having some fun with your buddies at some sort of event, and then going, you know what? Who wants to start gaming? And then you fire up the Fortnite on your, you just plug in. And that's the whole thing we want to do, is you want to make it so it's essentially all contained. So one plug plugs into the wall, and, you know, it's got to be hidden from the outside so it doesn't look like there's a bunch of like cables coming out of it. And you just you plug it in, turn it on, and off you go.
Yes. Now there is we do have some abilities that Matt and I may have both discussed slightly. Some of we are going to kind of keep the peripherals inside of it even, but obviously there's not going to be room to put a full-size monitor. So we'll have the ability to run an external monitor and all that.
If necessary.
Right.
I that's one of the things that we can talk about. But it's, yeah. I know Josh is already looking too, but we both got tiny little monitors.
Yes.
And the kind of the goal is to sort of make that monitor integrated into the actual semi truck. So you don't really need to have a monitor if you don't have access to one. So it's, for me, it was designed this to be as mobile as possible. So you could carry it under your arm if you wanted to, and just show somewhere and be like, "You guys want to start gaming at Starbucks?" There's a lot of possibilities, but the challenge is very nerve-wracking. Josh and I have been sharing our ideas back and forth because this isn't really a traditional. It's not a mayhem, so we're not trying to one-up each other. We're really sharing a lot of the ideas, and we want to make sure that this functions for both of us, and we can play off each other and use some of the same ideas and make it all work. And I think
I'm going to say this out loud now, and I'm going to steal this idea right from the chat. I think I'm going to go ahead and just integrate a projector right into it.
Maybe like a little Pico projector. That's a great idea. Yeah.
And you know what? Done and doneer. We are super excited about this. It's gonna be a pretty legit computer. Now, we're not starting with a case and tearing. Matt, I think, actually had thought about that.
I did. I bought a test bench style case, which is just sort of like plop all your components onto it, but it's too wide to fit in the trailer. So that doesn't work. I've already returned it.
I have done the CAD work on most of my components already, and the trailer itself, and like moving stuff around. The other thing is that, like I said, we're water cooling these, and we're using an EVGA AIO. EVGA supplied it. So now the thing is that it is an AIO. All-in-one is what that stands for. So it's got the pump and the water block that goes onto the actual CPU part, and then it's got tubes that come off of it that go to a radiator with a fan. But everything's fixed length. So you have these, you have to put them in a certain way. So
that'll be challenging.
And then the whole thing is coming up of, basically, we're starting from scratch. We're going to make all of our own everything, all of the tray, everything to mount it, everything. So
lucky for me, because it's a container and it separates from the trailer, I've got a lot more flexibility in where I can actually mount things and cool things and have air coming in without it being seen, because I've got a whole lower platform that isn't attached to a trailer. So I've definitely got a little bit of an advantage there. But that's the other portion of this for sure, is that we are going to do some benchmarking. So, we're going to see where our temps are and how fast we can get these computers to function. And, the other part of this challenge is, how skilled are we going to be at driving semis? I'm thinking not very. Tony can probably speak a little bit to that element of it. But
how bad of a driver you are?
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, no, everybody can speak to that comment. It doesn't. But are these semis? Because I don't have much experience with them, Tony. Are they a big seller? Is this something that moves fairly frequently at Tamiya?
I was actually surprised especially during COVID, to find out what our big sellers were. The semis, surprisingly, we don't make huge orders on them, but when we do, they're pretty much gone right away. We get a couple hundred of them at a time. Just a note, we would get those containers, or like those containers you have, the containers on the back of the big rigs that come in and carry stuff. We would get about a half a container of product maybe every month. We are now up to 4 containers a month.
Whoa!
Just ours. So it's
okay. So for those of you who are like, I don't think Tamiya is all that popular anymore.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, we can't, and that's kind of I did see somebody in the chat say something about paint and not being in stock. And the biggest thing is, it's not that we don't have this supply anymore. We had a lot of paint. We sold paint. We ordered more paint. We got it. We sold it. We got it. We sold it. We got it. We sold it. But at some point, the production has to move to something else and something else. So it's not that, we're just out of stock. We just having a hard time keeping up with demand. on
That's
everything.
totally
And
fair.
I
That's
think
totally
that's-
fair.
including the big rigs.
I think that's just a common theme in our industry right now.
Yeah.
With people being stuck at home, people are either finding new hobbies, revisiting old hobbies. There's just, there's no end to all of the different ways that people are doing RC right now. So it's just all part of it. And I think that, yeah, I mean, Tamiya paint being so popular as it is, like, made total sense.
Nothing beats your PS paint, man.
Yeah, when we have some internal projects we need to do, we can't even get the paint internally
Ooh.
to do the projects.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's crazy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That I can definitely. I've seen similar things like that happen. Just to see the, the boxes that these things come in, I can just see, like, that's a lot of product, no matter what it is. Like,
Oh
Yeah, they take up some room.
Yeah,
trailer.
the box for the trailer is massive.
like it just, like, it's these the boxes don't even fit anywhere. Like, so I have.
I was really impressed at the actual build of the trailer. I have to say, there were some frustrating moments, only because I didn't have the right drivers. So I was trying to. I've replaced most of the JIS stuff with hex hardware, but when I was building this, I have to say it was really impressive to see how it all went together. I'm just gonna try to kind of grab it here without losing everything, but the top's off of it because I've already started. Well, actually, that's the bottom. Anyway, I've started playing around with it, but to have this thing constructed and completed and see how it all goes together and how much thought processes went into the whole trailer and the mechanism for holding this container on there and being able to, like, quickly swap it off. They really did their homework.
Yeah.
I can see why this is so popular.
Yeah, and
Like,
the container one looks
never
great.
really got
it really does.
It does look really cool. And very much the Tamiya way. There's some. It really does look the part. I was like, I had no experience with the semi RC kind of world, but I kind of get it now. It's really cool. The realism is amazing. I can't wait to crack into that semi truck, the AROX that I got there. That thing.
I've thought about the semi world just a ton of times, and it's always been something I've like. Yeah, I think maybe, and to have the ability now to turn one into a, even especially as ridiculous as this project is in both theory and hopefully execution, it's been a huge help to Tony for helping facilitate everything on that side, and the people that Tony works with, and then also with EVGA, who Matt and I have been working with. They didn't flinch at this idea either. Sure, and
they're like, what do you need?
Which has been fantastic. So I've been spending a considerable amount of time reproducing a number of these parts from this trailer in CAD so that I can reproduce them myself for the fun, to try and make a PC inside of this thing and make the PC look cool. Like, that's a whole nother thing.
Oh, we have to make. Well, that's not really my problem,
right?
Because I'm going to spend a lot of time on the actual trailer itself. I'm going to do like a full-up weathered container, stencils and painting and airbrushing, and really kind of make it look like a weathered, old, seen a lot of travel kind of container that's been on ships and whatever. And definitely make sure there's a nice big Tamiya and EVGA logo on the side of that to help kind of promote this whole thing.
Yeah. And I'm going to go the opposite. I'm going to go free millennial, e-gamer, RGB, unicorn vomit just everywhere. Just
to match the 4-foot long tractor.
Yes. I'm so excited for my stretched wheelbase big rip. I bought the biggest chrome bumper, big visor, stacks, so excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
Like,
Sounds like you're overcompensating.
I'm all. I got to figure out how to slam it. I have so many things.
Well, let me tell you guys something really quick because I'm going to try and get you guys both one of these because it'll probably help you out in building this. We got these in just recently.
Oh.
The removable tip. And it's ratcheted. So you can.
That would be really handy.
And then it comes with a couple different tips that you can do, like the different size screws. But these are the tips that fit the Tamiya screws.
Oh, that's perfect.
They're not like
it's not a traditional Phillips head. A lot of people think it's just a Phillips
Right.
head screw. It's not. It's a JIS, which is like a Japanese standard.
And I've used standard screwdrivers to build my Tamiya cars, and I always, like anybody else, it starts stripping, and then you get pissed off, and then you're like, why do they use these screws? Well, I just got done building a car at work with this thing, and it's just nothing better than that. It's just so much easier. It just like grips the screw, and you never feel like you're stripping the screws ever.
Oh man, yeah, definitely. I'd love to have one of those. That's very
absolutely.
Cool.
I don't even know what the ones that I like. I don't know what the difference. Like, I can't look at a screwdriver. I guess I don't know like how to look at them and go, that's JIS and that's a Phillips. Like,
well, if it says Tamiya on the driver, it's probably for JIS.
Right. I have a full set of Phillips or whatever they are from Gropner. So I have the Phillips and the flat or straight screwdriver. I don't know. What do people call? Do you call it straight screwdriver or flat?
Flathead.
Flathead.
Yeah. Flathead.
Either way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying in the comments that they need that screwdriver. So Tony, thank you for showing that off.
Yeah, they're on the website now if anybody wants to go check them out. But I've used this. I just finished building a car yesterday with it, and it's so nice. Like you just feel like it's really gripping the screw. It's not that where you feel it just kind of starting to slip out and you're having to stop. And yeah, they're amazing for sure.
Very cool. That's amazing. A lot of guys are asking if you've seen flying cars.
It's funny because when that movie was first coming out, the producers contacted me to be part of like because I do reviews on my Competition X site. So somehow they got a hold of me on there and said, hey, we're coming out with this movie. Do you want to come see a screening? I'm like, sure, let's go check it out. So it was me. I don't know if you guys have heard of Jimmy Babcock. He owns Hot Rod Hobbies down here in Saugus, California. Him and a couple of his friends go. There was I'd say a handful of RC people down there. But we went to Hollywood. We got to do it wasn't kind of a red carpet. It was more of like a purple carpet. But we got to walk on that. We got to stand in front of this big sign, take some pictures, meet all the people, and then go watch the movie. And then afterwards, we got to kind of hang out afterwards. So, yeah, it was pretty fun. It was, the movie was...
the movie was...
It was...
A movie.
Yeah, it was a movie. Yeah, it wasn't... it was for an RC movie. I think it was okay. I think it kind of gave a little bit of a bad, like, hey, I'm going to go down there and meet my future wife down there type of thing, which...
don't count on it.
Yeah, Yeah.
That's only happened to John Schultz. And,
I've been racing a long time, and I think I've only known one person who's gone down there to meet his wife. Adam, right?
Oh, that's right. Rhonda, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So
I figured he met her elsewhere and then brought her into.
No, she's been racing for a long time. I used to race with her like 20 years ago too. So
like racing RC cars.
Yeah, but the whole experience of being down there and kind of hanging out with everybody was cool.
Because you got to go to it was at Man's Chinese Theater, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Now that's got to be a pretty cool.
Have
experience.
you watched it since then?
Yeah. I do have the little flyer that they gave us with their signatures on it sitting at my desk at work, but
what?
I haven't.
I need to see that. You have to email me a copy of that because I want to see what that looks like.
It's basically like a shrunken down billboard with the guy kind of looking over his shoulder and the girl holding the car, whatever it is. But we got to meet the actors and actors. They look really different than they did on screen. Like you wouldn't even think that was them.
So they made them look like that?
Yeah, like movie? That was on purpose?
Well, the girl now has dark hair, so I don't know if she had blonde hair for the movie or dark hair for another part. I don't really know, but she didn't look the same. Like, I didn't recognize her. She was standing right next to me, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, are you?" She's like, "Yeah." Like,
yeah.
oh, okay.
Oh no, I turned 18 now, so it's okay. Like,
Yeah. So I'm able to dye my hair now, right? Yeah.
Snow Factories, real quick. That's amazing that you've seen the movie, got to go to the premiere, and that you thought it was a movie.
Yeah.
At no point did they suggest that Tamiya should have been involved. It was AE on that one, right?
Yeah. I don't know if they might have contacted us at some point, but they would have contacted Fred and not myself. But I think Fred would have said something.
It would have been a vastly more entertaining movie if it had been like Dancing Riders.
Hey,
Yeah.
I mean, it would have at least had a topic. You'd be like, wait, what are they doing?
maybe there's wwhere you tie in your YouTube budget one.
Right. Yeah.
Do you want to be a big jumper?
Do you want to be a dancing driver? It's strange, but RC Jordy Crawler said 40 years old, never owned a Tamiya. We'll have to get one ordered. I'm hearing they're a joy to build. Apart from the screws.
You just got to find that there's so many different ones. Like I've found, well, I've got the Fat Fox up there. That's on the TT01E platform. Pretty good time. Yep. The Dancing Rider, obviously the best one. I've built I've built a ton of different ones, but the high lift was fun in its own weird way.
But you don't like leaf springs.
Right. So well, that thing was that the high lift is so different. I mean, it kind of came out. It was a scale truck before there was a lot of scale truck options. The Tamiya high lift was
sort of like
was before the SCX10.
It was the Bruiser's little brother.
Yeah. It was this big frame rail, lifted leaf springs with very tiny tires, and this great big 3-speed in there with a hard body. Yep.
Similar to the one that's in the.
Oh, you mean exactly the same?
Yes.
And by similar, you
mean other than having a front output, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, for that fact alone, it was amazing that they could take this transmission and then just put it into that truck. Like, that was.
Yeah, that'll go in there.
Yeah. Here we go. It's basically a semi that was just got cut down and a different body put on. Like, the axles were similar, the whole deal.
Tony, let's ask you, of all the Tamiya stuff out there, what would your Halo vehicle be? What would the one thing that maybe you don't have in your collection be that you would really want to have?
Probably the Avante. We have one, like an original, sitting in the office right as you walk in the front door. It's sitting on top of this glass case. And I'm surprised it's still there because it is sitting right by the front door.
Nobody would probably even miss it, Tony. You just take it for a few rips.
Yeah, who knows? But I've had pretty much all of the Tamiya cars, a bunch of the on-road cars. I now have a high-end Tamiya touring car, which is one of the ones I've always wanted, but I have one now. And so I have a Blackfoot, the Rough Rider, this Brat, a couple other miscellaneous ones. When something new comes out, I usually get them to build them for a display. But the Avante is one of the ones that I've never had. And from the people that I've heard that have them, love them. Just absolutely love them. So that's probably one of my, one of those, great white elephants.
And it was a pretty unique looking car, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Totally.
Thank you to Pleco Nation for the donation. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining. I do want to say that there was a fantastic, once it comes time for testing, Matt, someone recommended that maybe you try testing it not near the Kia building. So.
Right. It's probably a good idea. Tony, you probably don't know this, but in our monthly Mayhem Challenge, where we were getting the TRX-6 up to over 60 miles an hour, mine met mysterious fate. I don't know what happened, but it veered directly into a curb and quite literally exploded.
I've never seen an RC car do such impressive destruction. I mean, I've seen RC cars explode at 100 miles an hour, hitting somebody in the shit. Like I've seen that, but like just to see the frame rails of that vehicle just curl under and turn into these ram's horns, like.
Oh, you have video of that.
Oh, there is video. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. See, I love that kind of stuff.
It had just the.
It's not supposed to turn that way.
Yeah. Oh, it was so impressive. Now,
spectacular.
I mean, obviously you're no stranger to the scale market, Tony. Are you doing much on like the scale offer, SCX crawler type stuff anymore, or are you playing around in that area?
Yes. There's a whole like backstory axial thing. I'm sure.
Oh, right.
Matt, you probably know that. But after that whole thing, I kind of want to take a little step away from the scale and kind of get more toward racing again, because that's kind of always been like a big passion of mine. Is I love off-road racing, but on-road racing, the precision and the speed, that's what I really dig. So I've maybe the past year I've been doing quite a bit more on-road racing. But I do have here, I still kind of have my favorites. I still have an SCX-10-2. I haven't gotten a 3 yet, but I got an SCX-10-2 that I still drive. One of the new Element RC cars. And then, of course, a CC02 that's all kind of done up that it's just a fun vehicle to drive too. So I still go out and do it quite a bit, but not probably as much as, well, with COVID, it's kind of hard to get out anywhere. All the cool places that we usually go are closed up.
Yeah, being that you're
that again, or burning down.
Yeah. Right.
Being that you're right down in the LA area, it is a little bit. It can be more of a stretch to get out and away from some of that.
Yeah, no kidding. But there's the CC02 right there, Josh.
Yeah, I remember I watched your whole live stream when you assembled that.
Are we sharing?
Hey.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
What body did you use for that?
That looks pretty great. The Tamiya FJ Cruiser.
Yeah,
that was the one from the. Oh, that's right, from the previous CC01, right?
Yeah, and then this sticker set was actually the HPI came out with this for their JK and or for their FJ, and it just happened. Part of it happened to work on here, so I actually had it painted and then kind of made the stickers fit on this.
That's nice.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's super fun. Like it's definitely not a, we've always discussed this. It's not a Element or
it's a trail truck.
It's a different fun. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a trail truck. And to be totally honest with you, whenever I take this out, I have a blast with it. It's just so much fun. And it is definitely more of a trail truck, but that's part of the challenge of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at least it doesn't have leaf springs. Now, one of the, again, this was the early days of the scale boom. But when Tamiya came out with the CR01, their ladder frame chassis, I believe it came on small 2.2s. If I remember.
It was on 2.2s.
Smaller 2.2s, had a cantilever suspension though, but almost like TXT style cantilever, not like the cantilever that were a little bit more as far as the orientation and things like that. But it had separate coils and separate shocks, but the shocks themselves, I believe, were on the cantilever.
Yeah, they actually kind of went down, like the shock. The cantilever went up, and the shock kind of went down to that little center area that's in the.
But it had the separate coils on each
in the back corner. Yeah. And they kind of were the coils that were small, then big and small. They kind of did this weird mid-taper.
Yeah, I remember building one, and that came with a Toyota FJ40 style body, which was a really good looking body. Like the detail on the body was good.
Bronco as well.
Did it come with the Bronco?
Yeah, the Bronco.
I didn't remember the Bronco.
The FJ was orange on the box, and the Bronco was blue, I think.
Yep. So yeah, I guess I forgot about the Bronco. I kind of do remember people building with it later. Yeah, but
I like the M chassis.
I've never done one of those. Are those all front wheel drive?
Those
or
are
no?
No, there's actually a rear wheel drive version
Oh,
as
okay.
well. Yeah.
MO6 is rear wheel drive. MO5 is front wheel drive.
The
Yeah.
it's I've been playing with those WBL WPL D12s, those little K truck thing, and the popular conversion to do is everyone swapping to the M chassis wheels and tires because they fit well within those, and people are doing cool little body kits. But a lot of the stuff people are using is Tamiya based, so it's pretty interesting. So it's always it.
It's funny. It's funny where they when they pull parts from like M chassis to work on something else. It's always kind of that's a whole builder
Oh
thing.
yeah, and
Yeah.
the how long Tamiya has been around, the number of parts. They're like, oh well, this wheel looks the most appropriate, and this was, first used on this Tamiya released in 19. Like their catalog.
These turnbuckles are from the
I would love
Frog.
to hear the number of SKUs that Tamiya has.
Oh man.
Well, when I first started, they said one of my projects was we need to go through. They had just launched a new website, probably 3 or 4 months right after I started, and one of the things they did was they imported all of our pictures from our old website right into the new one. But the new one had a size, a maximum size that you could put on the pictures. Well, on the old site, they would just take a picture. Japan would send us the pictures. We just upload the pictures. So they'd be, 4,000 by whatever it is
Right.
pixels. So when they moved over and you clicked on them, it blew it off the screen because the maximum size was only 1,200. So they said, we need you to go through all these pictures and resize all the images and upload the images. I'm like, all right, that can't be that difficult. So I designed a spreadsheet. So we didn't really have all the part numbers. I had to go into folders within our network and look at the part numbers in the folders and then download all the picture. And so it was this whole rigmarole.
Oh my God.
I think I totaled it up to all the pictures I had to do to just over 12,000.
Oh,
Hopefully you wrote a macro.
Still, well, no, because all the pictures are different sizes. So, where they're 4,000 by whatever they are, 32 or something like that. Some of them are 3,000, but they're like wacky size. So I did do the macro in Photoshop and just sent it through to do its thing. And some of the pictures were good, and some of them were all like this, totally wacky or whatever. So, yeah. So I did quite a few of those, and then we passed that project off to somebody else.
yeah. I would have outsourced that as well. This is going to take 4 months. I'm going to work from home, and then I'm just going to contract somebody else to do this and take a 2-month vacation. Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But good for you for
So
doing it. Jeez.
you've mentioned how some of the older cars you have and things. How many cars do you still have in your collection?
Great question. Yeah.
In mine or
yours? Because it doesn't sound like you let go of
mine.
much.
I probably had. Well, when we used to live a little a little farther south from here, and we moved to Connecticut. When I went to work for RC Driver, I actually went to Connecticut to work with them. And at that point, my wife is going to kill me for telling the story. Our garage had those shelving units, the kind of the metal shelving units with the wood plank in it. It probably had about 12 of those in there, and you couldn't get in the garage. You had to walk. You had to and it was filled with RC stuff. She said, no, you can't take this stuff to Connecticut. We're going to have a gigantic truck just for this stuff. So I got rid of probably 3/4 of all that stuff. But at that time, I probably had, I don't know, close to 350, 400 cars.
Holy cow.
Yeah. I wasn't a collector. I was a keeper. I wasn't collecting to collect. I was getting a car and keeping it because it's someday I'm going to use it.
I love you, Tony.
Now
You're
I think I'm probably down to about 40 or 50 cars.
I feel like that's a healthy
fantastic.
number.
Yeah, I agree. There's nothing wrong with that. If my wife
somewhere
is
between 40 and 80 cars is a reasonable number of cars to have.
Yeah. Somewhere between 40 and 400.
Yeah,
No big deal.
Just anywhere. Anything less than 1,000 is fine.
I wish I had the space for 400. That would be crazy.
Yeah,
I'm looking around my workshop going, nope.
It took up an entire garage.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
And were they all in running condition?
No. Probably a quarter of them were probably with electronics, and in some form of running. Other ones I pulled the electronics out, but I wanted to take the tires off because the tires were cool, or I swap the tires around. But I would say at least 3/4 of them were complete. Maybe missing a body or wheels and tires, but as far as the car was complete.
I mean, a quarter of my cars aren't in functional running condition. Like,
yeah, that really it leaves me quite awesome.
But to be full disclosure, I worked at a magazine, so they would send in product to be reviewed. We'd get the product, we'd review it, and we were probably doing 3 or 4 of those maybe a week. And then after you did the review, after you built it, you were done. You got to keep the car. That was kind of the payment for doing the review. So it wasn't difficult to collect a ton of cars.
Right.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. I tend to try to rotate them out every once in a while because I have a limited amount of space. But I do have a lot that have not been built yet and are sitting in boxes. And I feel like I'm becoming that guy that's going to go, well, I don't want to build it now because it's out of production. So
yeah.
Who wants to buy an SCX-10? I'm going to turn into that weirdo.
Yeah, that's mine aren't because of that. I'm just like, ooh, I need this for a project, and then I just never get to the project. Like,
yeah. That's the problem, I think, is that I have too many projects on the go. I should just be more like Tony and just build them all right away and then just put them away.
Right. Yeah.
But that's a little more difficult when you have an actual job.
Oh, right. Yeah.
My job was to do that. So, all day long I sat at my desk and put the music on and built an RC car. That was kind of what I had to do. So, but when you have like right now, it's much more difficult to do any kind of projects like that because of a full-time job.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean there. I mean, that's even when getting to work on RC technically all day, like it's not working on this stuff. So, yeah. But I still come home usually and then work on most of it until it's too late. And I see Nicole on Fridays when she comes in here while I'm working on something, but yeah, that's.
I see my wife a lot, which is nice.
Well, yeah, you guys.
She doesn't come in here.
Right. It's more during working hours though, because you're both working from home, right?
Yeah. We're on separate floors of the house though, so there's that. That's amazing, Tony. Thanks for completely blowing my mind with that fact.
Yeah, that was quite the collection to have. But it sounds like you still kept some of your originals. So that had to be a hard task of picking.
Yeah, that must have taken a while. If you were like, well, we're moving to Connecticut, did you go, okay, well, I really like that one. So
the hardest part was that when I had my boss, I was working for the magazine while I was living here, but a position opened up there. He said, "Do you want to move here?" Or no, I said something like, "Oh, hey, maybe I should move there." And he's like, "Well, do you want to?" And I'm like, "I don't know. Let me ask my wife." My wife and I talked about it. We don't have any kids. We had nothing really keeping us here because I was already working for the company. So it was about 2-hour talk, and we decided, sure, it's an adventure. Let's go move to Connecticut. I've grown up in California, born and raised. Right now, it's low 40s at night, 60s during the day. I'm like, this is perfect weather. Yeah, Connecticut. The first winter there was, I think they had a -30 with the wind chill. And yeah, I think I rethought that one pretty quick. But when we went to move, it was, I want that, I want this, I want this, I want this. I kept the really, really ones that meant something to me. Like I still have the very first project truck I ever built for RC Driver. It was a four-wheel drive Traxxas Slash with a Van Halen body on it. And I created a logo in the back. Instead of a VH for Van Halen, it was a VP for Van Phelan. And so I still have that because that, was kind of a cool project truck. And when we moved a lot of the stuff, I think we had 2 months to move. So a lot of the stuff went into storage, and a lot of stuff went with me, and what went with me, I got rid of. What went into storage when we came back 3 years later, they kind of all we got rid of most of that stuff too. So the handful of things that I kept are, yeah, like you said, Matt, cars that really meant something.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that was
It's
I mean, even when I moved to California, like I had a shop full in the Midwest, and having to, I basically what we had filled my Jeep full of anything that I could, and then we drove to Disney, Oklahoma for Crawlapalooza in 2015, and I was just like, we're getting rid of all of this. Had like a 4-hour garage sale, just like, oh,
wow.
and that was, yeah, that was.
I will say that it seems to be a much more common thing for citizens of the United States to just pick up and move, like right across the country. Here in Canada, there's not and I'm being pretty general about it, but especially for my style of work, there's really only two places to be.
Toronto or Vancouver,
either
right?
here or Vancouver. So the likelihood of me picking up and just deciding to move and sell all my stuff is not a big reality. So luckily, I can just hoard everything.
Yeah. You're just lucky you don't have a bigger space to do it.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. Yes, it's already expanded beyond this room, Josh.
Oh.
The big stuff has to go in the.
Let me tell you how much of a reality that is here too. The trickle out effect that has happened, like into the living room, like surrounding my desk out there, and then it like.
If I just put a box under the desk, she won't see it.
And it's. That's the time when she's just like, "What are you doing?" Like.
You've got a lot of boxes, Josh.
I'm just saying.
That was my impression.
Yeah, that's she's listening. And so
there's usually more cursing. Though.
Yeah. The RCPC. So we've got these boxes.
Yep.
And
never mind all the boxes for all the other
MFU,
gear.
And then this entire thing full of PC parts. Like,
well, yeah, I've got like random boxes I just picked up. Oh, there's a
for
drive.
PCs being so RAM. Small, the boxes that they
take up so much money.
Come in are massive. Like, because you have a CPU that's this big, but it comes in a box like this. Like,
well, the AIO came in a giant box too. It's like, why is it in such a huge box?
Everything. It's just like, oh.
You guys could pack like 6 more in there.
But and why didn't you?
Right.
Right. Exactly. I mean, at least the box for the processor is comically huge. Like, why does it need to be this big?
Yeah, the whole
is there a fan?
Well, and it's not like it's protecting it because the processor's literally right there on the top.
Yes. You could jam your finger in there and dent it if you wanted.
Yeah, and
but it's going to be a very fun project.
The AIO, like people are talking, this is the reefer trailer. So that it's got the refrigeration unit right here on the front, and I'm like, well, I obviously have to integrate my radiator and everything just right into that because obviously, but
yes,
it's I have installed my RAM and things like that into the motherboard. I haven't put the CPU in there yet though, and the big old AIO and all that. So it's gonna be
heavy.
Yeah, they're definitely not light.
No.
Yeah, the truck itself without all that stuff in it is definitely not light.
The trailer is surprisingly light.
Oh, it is? Yeah.
For the size and complexity of the build and the amount of pieces, it's not very heavy. The semi, though, that is a heavy box.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I was pretty surprised at the weight of the trailer itself. I mean, it's getting a lot heavier once you start.
Don't hurt yourself, man.
Yeah, I pulled something in my back. But yes, a couple people have a couple of questions here. US Park or U-Spark Talk, maybe. Has Tony ever owned a lunchbox?
I have. Yes, I have. I have the lunchbox and I have the lunchbox mini.
Oh, right, the Mini. Is that like the comical?
It's kind of the one. It's like it's about this big. It's got the little wheels on it. It does the wheelie. You can drive it around on the back wheels.
Right,
Yeah.
I remember Greg did a review on that one. I remember.
Yeah. The someone here saying Linus of LTT put a PC in an RC plane, and Matt and I actually we've looked at a lot of this before.
We looked at that.
But the one that they put in there, I think it was like one of the Nooks.
It was.
It was like the it's the
wasn't
like Intel's next level, whatever it was, next unit of computing or something like that. So it wasn't like this is a full.
This is a gaming PC.
And I think we're going to
computer.
integrate some of the streaming stuff into there. So technically, we should be able to stream from these when we're done.
That should be part of the challenge as well. We'll do a little streaming from this RC PC.
Yes.
We'll have to drive it to a remote location.
A computer in an airplane just seems risky.
Well, and it was a water plane.
Yeah.
Like I've flown airplanes, and when you crash it, you basically sweep it into a bag and go home.
And his,
I mean, I can't even imagine putting like a 10-pound computer in that thing.
Theirs was a float plane. Had the floats on, and they were doing it because they were launching their new platform called Float Plane. But it was, I was just like, oh, that doesn't seem like a.
Yeah, that's not. I wouldn't do that. That's a good idea. Westmade wants to know, and we can put this to rest finally. He got called out on a video for his pronunciation. How is it actually pronounced? So we can correct Josh finally.
Well, Josh, how do you say it?
Tamiya.
And Matt, how do you say it?
I say Tamiya.
It's actually I used to say Tamiya. In fact, I still say Tamiya, but I found out that is incorrect. It is actually Tamiya.
Tamiya. All right, so there you go, everybody. If you say it wrong, I'm banning you from the website.
Yeah. It's a good thing it's a forum, and he can't tell how you're pronouncing it.
True. No, I can see.
It all spells the same.
Yeah. Tamiya. Okay, there you go. Tamiya. Everybody.
Yeah, that's
Phalen.
FJ913.
Somebody here, Michael Edmonds said he tried to convert a Tamiya King Hauler into an off-road truck. Tried it, at least. That would be an interesting build. I'd be keen to see that. John Grant wants to know what happened to the Tamiya racing teams.
I don't know if I'm the right person to be answering that. I was kind of informed of why we were getting rid of that, and I think that's a Japan thing. They didn't really see the value in. I mean, racing teams cost a lot of money. You pay, not only do you pay for somebody's salary, you pay for their travel, you pay for their food, you pay for the transportation, you pay for this, you pay for that, you pay for this. So basically, you're sending a person around the world to race your car, and with racing being like 5% of this 100% market, and then you're sending more than one person. You're sending a team of 4 or 5 guys. Right. Cost value to that, and I think this goes with every race team. There's not a whole lot of cost value to that if you're spending a couple $100,000 a month and you're selling 5 cars. There's just not.
Right. I was going to say that because of Tamiya's focus, not being in the hardcore race market, it couldn't have made any sense from a financial standpoint. I mean, it's much more an enthusiast market.
Yeah, especially if you have good racers, like, he's saying all the things you have to pay for, their salaries can be fairly high, and then you have to pay them more if they win. Like, the contingencies
on top of that, sure. And then so it made sense to get rid of the team, but it didn't make sense to get rid of the TRF label, which we still have and we still put on like the touring cars and some of the parts. And, there's the TRF. It's kind of like the, AE's factory team or Losi's TLR. Sure. It's kind of still that same thing. We just don't have a team to support it, which is kind of a cost savings because it's the Tamiya way. Yeah. People will buy it if they want it.
Right.
Yep. And I'm sure that in the touring car world, they're probably a lot more competitive than, say, they would be in the buggy or the the 10 scale off-road kind of classes in today's world, anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now I know they have the touring car stuff. Do they have off road as well, race, right?
They used to have an off-road. They had a TRF 201, which is a two-wheel drive buggy, and then a TRF, I think it was a 502 or 502X, which was a four-wheel drive
Okay.
buggy. And they had those, I don't know, 7, 8, 10 years ago. I'm not exactly sure the time frame. But I found out today, actually, because Fred and I were looking up some project we're looking at, and I found out that we actually had a mid-motor buggy, kind of what's popular with everybody else's buggies. We had a mid-motor version of the TRF 201. So I think it was a TRF 201X or MX or something like that. But I'm actually trying to we have a couple of those on display in the office. And I'm actually going to try and see if I can grab those and actually put electronics in and go run them and see how well they work compared to what's out there today. Because I have an associated buggy and techno buggies, and I got off-road stuff here that I race. But it would just be interesting to see how those compare to vehicles of today.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it is. I mean, because seeing how some things progress and whether, I can only imagine some, like I haven't never been in. I just wonder how their level of construction was. And, my experience with Tamiya stuff is always like how different it is compared to everything else I'm used to. So I always wonder, like, what is that experience like in one of those markets where it's a race buggy? Like, did they still do it differently than everybody else, or?
Well, it had
it had 18 gears.
Design was designs were a little different, but it still had the better carbon arms, aluminum, chassis plates, and threaded shocks. It was kind of like the higher end stuff. They weren't using that ABS plastic or anything, or the silly screws, but it is more of a high end vehicle for sure.
I do have to go back to this comment from Chris. It says, can't wait for Matt to try and stream from his truck. I think I'll watch from Josh's channel.
Wow. It's not me. I don't know. Sometimes Skype just decides to quit. For the record, we should talk about Josh's number of problems when we first started doing this. It would take him like 6 or 7 tries. He'd be like, I got to restart the computer. It'd be like a dozen times before we'd have to go live. And that's why we were always late. It wasn't me. I'm just sitting here waiting.
Right.
Usually.
And that was when Matt was just doing it all from his open MacBook. And we were getting the up the nose angle from his webcam all the time.
It's like, you want to start now? Can we start now?
But yeah, no, things have progressed. So
yeah, definitely. It's really cool to have you on tonight, Tony. Thank you so much for taking some time out of your, I'm sure, busy day and spending a little bit of time with us tonight and answering some
spending more time at night talking about RC after you did it all day.
Actually, Labor Day we had the day off today. So
Veterans Day.
Sorry, Veterans Day we had the day off.
Thank you to the veterans.
I had to go in to fix a real quick problem this morning, and then I had the rest of the day off. So I think, this works out perfect.
Awesome. It's been a real.
And before we let you go, Tony,
you have any more questions? Put them in the chat.
RC Patina guy, and thank you for the donation. What is your favorite Tamiya build ever?
As far as so I'll go as far as quality of build is going to have to be the touring car, Terra 419 touring car. It just kind of like fell together. But as far as a build like for pure fun, there's been a few. The Dancing Rider certainly is one of them. That's a fun build. CCO2, I liked it only because it was different. I'm sure, Matt, you putting all the little nuts in there and trying to keep them in place and everything. There's just some kind of weird, different. I don't even know how to explain it. There's kind of a love-hate relationship. It's really kind of fun to do, but then how are you supposed to put your big, American meat fingers in there to hold things?
Yes.
But once you get it together, it's a lot of fun. Actually, one of the funner ones that I did, which is definitely One of the more difficult ones was the new TC01, that Formula E car.
Oh,
It's got an inboard suspension system. It has a really weird way of putting electronics in and this, that, and the other thing.
that thing looks super interesting to me.
It is really it's really different, which makes it really fun.
Right. Does it kind of have like almost like an exo frame around it?
So the same guy that designed the TA07, which has that the kind of the side frame rails that kind of go up.
Right.
So it's basically that same kind of design, other than the fact that it's all inboard suspension, so there's no shock towers. It's got upper, front, and rear independent, like the front and rear independent arms are different up on the top and bottom. You adjust camber, shimming the lower arms in or out instead of using like a camber link. So there's a lot of different ways to do things on this car, which was kind of interesting to build only because it's so different. But I've actually been driving the car for a while now, and it's a super fun car to drive.
Cool.
I've seen some interesting posts about people trying to make those go really fast on the Tamiya groups.
Yeah.
And I've seen some interesting outcomes from some of those people. Like,
I can only imagine.
Yeah, there's always parts hanging off of them.
Yeah. There's something once that thing hits 88, I just
There's fire and it's not from it disappeaaring.
Yeah.
Don't let me have one.
Yeah.
That's all I can say about that.
Oh man. So no, it was we do appreciate it again, Tony. That was
absolutely. Thanks. It was fun.
Yeah. Here's a question from Long Tall Texan. Any chance the 112 Tamtex series will make a comeback?
I haven't heard anything. Of course, I haven't heard anything from a lot of the stuff that's being re-released now as well. So we're usually not the first to know. We get confidential files in 2-3 months before a product is announced. At that point, we kind of get ready to ramp up whatever we need to do for these cars to come out. But I haven't heard any grumblings on Tamtec stuff. There's a couple guys in the office that have their Tamtec cars on top of everybody has the cars. They have their personal cars up there.
What are Tamtecs? I'm not.
It's kind of like a mini Z.
Okay.
It's a little bit bigger, but it's kind of that same idea.
Gotcha.
Smaller cars. I think they got hard bodies on them. You can get like 962 Porsches or whatever, and they're pretty cool. They look cool.
I'll ask this one. This one bugs me a little bit, but it's a question like, how do you guys feel about seeing the clone stuff? Like,
oh yeah,
I mean,
I think it was 2 years ago at Proline by the Fire. We didn't really have a crawler at the time. We had a CC01. We didn't have the CC02 yet. We were trying to get it out for that event, but we didn't have it in time. So I went down there and set up a booth with a bunch of rally cars because they were having a rally event there. So we put all our rally cars there,
which was super cool.
Yeah, and as they had the cars in display for the concours, there was I think it was a Bruiser out there. It was a red Bruiser. It looked really good. I'm like, wow, that thing's cool, man. That's a good looking Bruiser. And the guy's like, yeah, this is a clone. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, this is a clone. I'm like, okay, it's not cool anymore. But no, I didn't say that. But so I went back.
Wouldn't be wrong.
No, I agree.
So I went back to the office and I talked to Fred. And I'm like, this guy had a Bruiser out there. It was kind of cool, but it was a clone. And unfortunately, we can't do anything about those.
Right.
We do not like that. I think the parts carry over. Like you can cross the parts back and forth between two cars.
Yeah, they're like a direct clone.
We don't support anything. If they call in and say, I've got this, Bruiser clone and I need, nope, sorry, we don't support them. There's not much we can do about it, unfortunately. So we don't really spend that much energy on it, other than the fact that we just don't support it.
Yeah, no, I know that same type of struggle. So it bugs me to see regardless.
Yeah,
and
I don't like it. I'm not a big fan. I'll never get one of those.
Yeah.
No, I've been. Matt gets the same emails as I do. Probably they try to send those like hey, do a video on.
You should do a review on this.
Like no.
Why?
No. I think the bruisers are cool even today. But it's just like, yeah, I wouldn't. I don't want. I have no part in wanting to touch one.
Yeah.
Like,
If I'm gonna get one, it'll be the real deal.
yeah. So.
Yep. Got a lot of love and respect for Tamiya, and always going to be close to my heart because it's where I got started in this hobby. So thank you, Tony, for being a part of an amazing company, and thank you for all the support you've given us to help us live out our dreams of making the stupidest computers ever.
Yeah.
Well, when I got that letter, I'm like, oh, they sent the letter over. Can I read this? I'm like, are these guys out of their mind with it? How are they going to do this? But then I'm like, but this sounds really cool. Like, if they can pull it off, this is really cool. So, thankfully with COVID, we haven't gone to the Long Beach Grand Prix, or we have a huge budget for marketing stuff, and we didn't go to any of these events this year because of COVID. So it actually just kind of came at a good time. We had a little extra money, and we're happy to work with you guys. When Fred asked me about you guys and your channels, I had nothing, of course, but good things to say. I mean, I know you guys personally, and I've seen you at Axial Fest and all these other kind of things. So it was a really easy sell to get this project going. But we're more than happy to be a part of it, for sure.
Oh, yeah. We're really excited, and we won't let you down.
We'll try not to.
Well, we can come.
It won't be from lack of effort.
It'd be hard to come get you, Matt.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I'm easy to not get in touch with.
Yeah.
Sorry, computer's acting up. Can't get on the internet again.
Oh wait, we need a passport to come see him.
Yeah.
Oh, the border's closed. Sorry, guys.
All right. Good stuff.
Thanks very much, Tony. We'll be in touch. And
right.
Thank you for having seen flying cars.
Yeah, sure. And I'll make sure I send you a picture of that little flyer that I got.
Yeah, please do. I'd love to see that.
All right, guys. Take it easy.
See you, Tony.
Thanks again. Take care.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Oh, that was awesome. I love Tony.
Yes. Let's see. Everything's switching over. So Matt and I are both excited about the RCPC.
It's going to be so fun, but I'm so nervous. There's so many things about this project that I'm already freaking out about. Mostly, it's where is everything going to go and still work properly? Because, while the Mini ITX card is quite small, it's a small motherboard, it just barely fits in the container because the container car or container trailer box, because of the corrugation, I lose about 1/4 inch on either side. So for Josh's trailer, it probably fits no problem.
It does, even though I'm going to further efforts to make it look more difficult than it should be.
Right.
I am gonna, like I said, I'm taking some steps. I'm going to reproduce a number of the parts in the trailer, or of the actual trailer, so that I can do things in different ways. But it's going to be, from the outside, both of these trailers initially should look basically like it'll look like a Tamiya trailer and also a really badass semi truck in front of mine. Matt will have that Mercedes.
Come on, that thing. That looks badass. I don't know what you're saying.
The frame rails are just—they're so cute. Look at those little tiny little frame rails in that thing.
I don't care how long it is.
Can you understand? I'm gonna have 28-inch frame rails under my truck.
Again, compensating.
Check
out how long it is, ladies.
I did ride a stretched Hayabusa. Just saying.
Exactly. But I mean, aside from fitting the motherboard, wiring up the video card to fit properly, and the thing that I really want to make sure I do from all of this is make sure that from the outside you can't tell that there's a PC in there. Right. So the wiring and the cabling and making sure there's outputs available so you can plug in if you want to, this is a real challenge.
I see Stabby Josh was asking for some of the just joining. The project, like you've seen, we do have the Tamiya semis, both of us. I've got the king hauler. Matt's got the A-Rocks. We both have trailers. And then we are building full gaming PC level PCs inside of the trailers. So
It's a challenge.
yeah, which, you know, we're using EVGA was the other sponsor of it.
Big time sponsor.
They provided us with some awesome PC hardware. We're using their motherboards and some i5 processors. Their
AIOs.
Their AIO water cooling solution, 2060 KO graphics card, RTX graphics cards. Their micro ATX, or what I don't remember what that
It's
power.
a 550 gold.
Yeah. 80 plus gold.
Supernova.
Yeah. So they're super compact little PSUs, and we're going to put all of that inside of it. So
the trailer.
The nice thing will be, yeah, like with graphics cards, we'll be able to move them around with a riser cable, but there's some complications with a few things here and there. It's going to be Stabby Josh saying lots of RGB. Duh.
Lots of RGB for that duh over there.
Yeah.
Over there. I'm going more stealth with mine. I purposely didn't buy any RGB stuff at all. In fact,
so
because I want mine to look just like a container. I don't need it to do anything else. Like, if anything, I'll make some sort of way of having a keyboard also just slide out of the back. But otherwise, that's about it.
Yeah, my I have lofty goals.
So do I.
Now, at the same time, I am going to leverage again, like in Monthly Mayhem, my Stepcraft, the CNC router, which is quite handy.
It is. You might have to cut me a few pieces.
Right. Exactly.
I'm just saying, because this isn't a traditional challenge. It's not a mayhem. So there's no winners and losers per se. I mean, we're putting our own style and our own stamp on these for sure.
Right.
And with the benchmarking and everything, it's just more of like an informational kind of, oh, wow, you were able to achieve that, or you can drive this better than me, or whatever it is. But it's not a mayhem. It's all just about the it's sort of a group challenge, more or less.
It's going to be just a fun deal. We put some guidelines on it. We're using the same hardware. We same processors, motherboards, RAM, AIOs.
Everything's the same.
The thermal performance of the build will vary between us, just because that's going to be up to us. So that will have an effect on things.
Are we going to overclock, or is that sort of the goal? Well, we'll see,
Yes.
It's really more about getting all these pieces inside this thing and making it power up and function. I think that's the biggest challenge.
Alex says, Matt, there are no winners or losers. Josh, I will win.
Yeah. Like most of these challenges, I go in with a sort of open mind, and the Canadian aspect of this challenge for me is just to have a good time.
Yeah.
I don't care if I win or lose.
And I am already comparing the length of our frame rails.
I don't even know. I haven't even looked at the measurements of this thing, so I don't even know how big it is. I have no clue.
Have you not opened that box yet?
No, I haven't. I've been focusing all of my attention on making sure that...
I had not opened mine yet either. Just measure the box. How wide is the box? Because they usually go from side to side.
All right, let me tell you how many squares it is.
Yeah, Jesus, I knew that was coming.
Well, did you watch my Gatekeeper?
I did today? Watch your Gatekeeper. And you were very close on your
squares.
Estimation. And I'm like, it's almost like you knew that stat and counted your squares for comedic value.
Yeah, that might be true. It's a 27-inch box. Oh.
That's larger than my box.
Oh. It's not the size of the box, Josh.
My box is only 25.5 inches.
Well, yours is a lot older than mine, right? So hang on, let me get out my finger blade and we'll open this up. Oh, here we go. Length. You want to know how long it is?
Oh, in total?
Oh, Tony is funny. CCXRC said, "Oh, your gatekeeper finally arrived. It must have got lost in the mail when they were pre-released." I did slightly ask a question in the video. I said, "Would you rather get a kit or an RTR?" I know which one I would have rather gotten, but the smooth action of that finger blade.
Oh, you know what? The other question I wanted to ask Tony was about their artists, or
the airbrushing artist.
I'm just
Darn
talking,
it!
just like this this artwork.
Yeah, I know.
It's freaking amazing because it's not CAD.
Nope, it's all hand drawn. There's an artist who does it all,
And it's incredible.
Yeah.
So,
27 inches. How many Canadian squares is that? Tony, CCXRC Tony, did you get a gatekeeper kit? He probably did. Oh, I almost dropped it. 6x4. Does that mean both rear axles are powered?
yes, it does. It has a pass-through.
There's an artist signature on the box.
Weirdly, that doesn't help me at all.
We might be able to find out who it was.
Jeremiah says, Josh, extend the fifth wheel, then extend the sleeper cab, make a mega sleeper. And then I could put all kinds of sleeping bags in there.
Hey, ladies. Want to sleep in my truck?
Now, Jeremiah's idea, that sounds like styrene work to me. And
Ooh, yeah,
I know you're not new to this channel. See, that's still such a cool arrangement.
I love it.
Now find the frame rails. We have to measure them. That's all I care about.
Look at all the tires. Oh, there's so many pieces.
I know. Josh loves to pretend he doesn't love styrene. Thanks, Tony.
It's true.
You could put a mega desk in there.
Oh, my frame rails are short.
Quad desk. There's only 3 though.
My frame rails are short.
Look at those.
These are cute.
How many squares are those?
18.
Yes. 10 inches longer.
It doesn't matter, Josh. It's gonna look so weird.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Ryan Davis,
How
low are you going to slam your semi? I honestly don't know how that's done yet. I'll have to look at it because I hope that. I guess I'm probably gonna have to buy more parts.
You probably won't. Yeah. Well, no. I think you just remove leaves.
I'm all for that. I'll remove all of them.
Blue Dooley says that in California you can't run a stretched frame rail because the state has a length limit. So suck on it.
I'm gonna Smokey and the Bandit.
Does your
outrun the cops?
Does your
Just
truck have an
piece.
interior? Because mine does.
It appears so based on the artist rendition that I see here.
Well, that doesn't mean anything.
It shows 2 seats.
So it does. Okay, yeah, I've got 2 seats. Quite the dashboard.
I know that the what do you call it? That tow truck, that big 8x8 tow truck or 4x8 tow truck, had a wicked interior in it.
That's a halo truck for a lot of people, I bet.
Yeah. Now, if this one has an interior, like a very detailed dashed interior, I will be tinting the windows.
I'm just looking at the space for the window here. If you know what I mean.
Oh, I do.
Because that would be kind of cool too. Matthew Jorgensen said, Matt, you have a more complex cab build. I built that cab and a Scania, and he's telling me it's going to be a lot more complex. So that's cool.
I'm so looking forward to. Now, I mean, I'm going to have obviously the much larger big chrome bumper down here, and then a big chrome visor, much larger stacks. I went with the full coverage rear fenders on my much longer extended frame rails.
That's neat.
So much cool stuff ahead. I haven't done a grill yet. I probably need to look at that. I need to look at fuel tanks.
I can't wait to start building this, but I think I'm, for the sake of the video series, I think I'm going to focus on the actual PC part of it first.
I think that I need to do that for my own sanity.
Yeah. Building this is just building this. And,
although I say that, and at the same time,
challenge.
I say that, but at the same time, I know that once I get those frame rails in my hand,
you're just going to want to build it.
I gotta build it.
Gotta build it.
So, yeah. I'm thinking.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm thinking that it's gonna be orange.
What? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think that's cool, I mean, you're doing it, so you do it. I'm
Right.
I'm probably gonna go silver. Silver. But then the grill, I'm gonna do black.
Oh wow.
Black out the grill.
Get crazy.
It's gonna look pretty cool. And then, I'll just do the rest of it as box art. But the trailer is where I'm going to spend a lot of my time because that is going to be pretty cool. I think.
That's
weathered, cruddy.
Chris Hill saying side skirts, which I don't know where that goes.
The trailer, I imagine. No,
I don't know. I don't really have room for that on the trailer.
Maybe
now
he means this part.
It could be. I don't know. Listen, I just see custom semis and I hit like. I don't really know anything about them. All I know is that the longer they are, the cooler they are.
Who's the? Put it in the chat. Who are the semi mod dudes?
Semi Joe.
Semi Joe.
Yes, I spent a considerable amount of money with him this week.
Semi Joe RC Truck Shop.
Yep.
All right. Free shipping in the USA. Oh, darn it.
Free in the USA.
Yeah, it was Remembrance Day here, which is a lot like your Veterans Day, I believe.
Yes.
I don't think they have anything for the AROX.
Oh, no way. That is brand new information.
Hey.
Listen, that's because
I could probably stretch it, but it would look ridiculous because it's such a tall truck.
And it just doesn't look like a cool semi like mine. I mean, that looks like I don't think that there's probably ever been a cool one of those. They're just always that, but older.
What about Tamiya does that other semi that's upright. Tamiya semi.
No, I'm just saying like those ones in real life. They're either new or they're old.
Yeah, but the globe liner, that's a cool one. You could do a long frame on that one. I'm surprised you didn't get that one.
The globe liner?
Maybe it's not wait for me to return this and get that.
Tamiya globe liner. Let me see what that one looks like. That one's kind of cool. Old, yeah, like that one I could see old school, cool as well.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that the AROX pulling the container trailer is very, very SBG.
It's SBG.
And stretched, awesome American. Very fitting for me.
So very you. What size frame rail did you get?
28 inch. I had 26 selected, and I actually went at one point. I went to go check out, and I had a 26 and 28, and I'm just like, I don't know why I chose those, but I better just go with the longer one. So,
Amazing. Oh, they have 29.5. Why didn't you get those?
well,
Oh, that's 16.
I didn't want to be
16.
ridiculous.
All right.
Well,
so
how are
that's the
you?
challenge, guys.
Yeah, how are you guys doing the ventilation? I think there'll be a combination of a number of things for both of us. I have the reefer unit in the front of mine that I'll be able to modify to act as the intake for the radiator that sits behind it. And I think there's some other opportunities for us to integrate
I'm probably cutting some holes.
Yeah. Oh, there'll definitely be some holes
Yeah.
being made.
Yeah. I'm just looking at where the trailer sits and where I could put those holes. But I've got fans. I've got the AIO. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Matt and I both are, we talked about this and we're just like, we understand that this may not be right in the wheelhouse for all of our audience, but it's something that it's RC. Obviously, both of us are going to enjoy anyway. And the PC side, we also like. So,
Yeah. Leslie, these are definitely going to be RC. That's priority number one.
Yeah, they have to. Tony Mazza, something is definitely wrong. I'm doing dishes and the wife is watching the live stream.
Yeah, that's. I'm sorry, Tony.
Yeah,
Don't feel bad. I did the dishes earlier.
not me. So, I did.
Surprised.
Yeah, right. But no, this is going to be fun, and then obviously we both have a number of other projects that we're working on simultaneously, so that's always a juggle.
Yeah, and because this takes up so much space, it's really going to be like hammer hard on it for like 3 or 4 days, make a video, put the video out,
Yeah,
and then put it all away so you can work on other projects.
We are hoping to kind of do this we've discussed, it's not going to be like a weekly video thing at this point. We're going to do a video kind of outlining an initial, we haven't discussed exactly how far the first video will go. But then there'll probably be 2 videos following that, maybe a third or fourth, technically, final video, like of the running and all that, but we'll see. So
yeah, that's sort of the plan anyway, and it'll modify as we go. But
yep. Especially depending on how smoothly or unsmoothly things go. Hey, Moose Jaw, thank you for the donation.
Yeah,
my Instagram
thank you very
reached
much, Moose Jaw.
2K, and that's thanks to you putting up with my obnoxiousness.
And he said, instead of him self-deprecating on your channel, he said, thanks for throwing my bad jokes out there into the internet world. Thank you, Moose Jaw, and congratulations on 2K. That's a big milestone.
It is. The first 2,000,
few
much
thousands.
harder than the text.
Oh my gosh, it's true.
Yeah, it is a grind for a very long time.
Yes, it is.
That
never ends.
No, it really doesn't. But
so yeah, on to the next challenge of actually fitting all these things in here. Josh and I have already taped out our platforms that these chassis or these trailers are kind of built upon. I've got the benefit of having a separate thing altogether because it is a container which can be lifted off of the trailer assembly. So I have that benefit to working with this. It is a little bit easier to work with.
Yeah, mine is just a trailer all the time. So
right.
It's the other thing is that we have to figure out what we're going to do with them when they're done.
Right, because I already have a computer in here, and I already have a computer where I work. So I don't know that I need a third computer.
The other thing, like, just for display purposes, I don't know how to display assemble.
Right.
Do I make its own shelf that stretches across the top of my... I tried talking Nicole into letting me mount it on the wall above my desk. It was a no-go.
Yeah, that was a no-go, really. So the trailer takes up more than half of my shelf space on the top shelf. It won't
Yeah.
fit in any of the single shelves. So
And that is just the trailer.
that's just the trailer. It does fit up here, but that's where the PC is currently for this room. I guess technically, I guess I could get rid of the streaming PC and this just becomes the streaming PC from here on out.
Cody brings up a point here that I hadn't even considered as a possible issue, but it says, will the tires handle the weight?
Yes, they will. Okay. They'll be fine. The leaf springs are pretty firm.
I thought about that too. I didn't know about the tires themselves. I do have, which I think you do as well. Like, I don't think they're a super single, but it's just it's a single, 2 wheels per axle, 3 axles total, 6 wheels on the trailer. So,
6 wheels on the trailer and then another 6 on the tractor. It should be plenty.
I think I have more than that on my tractor, of course.
Oh, no, wait, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay.
Yeah. Needs its own shelf, Matthew Jorgensen's saying.
So yeah. Let's see.
Somebody said something funny here.
Not another crooked shelf, Titus.
RC Around America said maybe the third computer can help Matt's internet work better.
You can tag team them. I wonder if I could hang it vertically, just hanging.
Yeah.
Maybe on that wall, the little.
That would be kind of cool.
That's not a terrible idea.
I mean, if I just did some reworking of this space again, I could probably make it fit somewhere.
Yeah. If I do some major construction.
Yeah. If I move.
Yeah.
I've actually, completely unrelated to RC, but sort of related because I do want more space. I've been kind of looking at property, and I've been thinking about, looking into like a container home.
Yeah, that's a whole thing.
It is a whole thing. It's a pretty interesting thing because all you really do is you pour a foundation and then you plop a bunch of containers on it and you can build a home.
Yeah,
and
they are. It's like a whole like with the insulation. And there's a very.
The one I was looking at was, I think it was 4 containers, so 4 40-foot containers, which is I think it gives you around 1,600 square feet or so. And it's big, and it's a really nice layout. The way they do it, you get 2 whole walls of glass. And
gotcha, that style. I've seen that where they use them as the outer frame. They also have So you're not just always in this 8-foot wide box. You're
exactly, yeah. And it's like it's got 3 bedrooms, and it's open concept, and it really kind of fits my kind of lifestyle. And then I could just get another container, for workshop, right?
I mean, I don't hate the idea.
It would be a bit of a thing, securing a loan to build an entirely new house.
Yeah, exactly.
Just having a house.
Yes. Yeah. Lots of so here's some of the suggestions people are saying here. Put it in the living room as an HT PC, home theater PC. I've proposed these things. They have been very much axed by Nicole saying, we live RC every day. I don't need it in my face. Just
see, the thing with mine, at least, is it doesn't always have to look like a RC. It can just be a container,
which is cool. I agree. Mine is it's an RC. It's a
truck all the time.
Tony says, Laser Town in Canada.
Yeah. That's what it's going to be.
Canada Town? Canada Town?
I think we have lasers here. It'll be a cold laser.
Yeah. Cold heat. Like the infomercial for put the light on it and it cures it.
Oh yeah.
Won't the cats knock it over? Yeah,
The cats will probably.
I'm really kind of liking my idea of the vertical hang over there.
That could be kind of cool. That could be kind of cool. But it won't be much of a functional PC if it's over there.
I mean, I agree on that.
Yes, G Tosh, this will be a gaming PC. My
Yes.
goal is to Call of Duty or SnowRunner or something on it.
We both have to play the truck simulator on it as a benchmark. I have not played that yet. I feel like I need to.
Yeah, I've never played it, but it does look interesting for sure.
So, yes, but well, and I mean, honestly, now it could be completely functional all the way over there if I do things differently. And plus, obviously, I'm putting a projector in it now, so it'd be super useful.
Yeah. Yeah, I should actually look at projectors now too.
Hey, I got the projector's mine already. You can't have it.
Not a competition, you ding dong.
Everything's a competition.
I should have known getting into this with you. It's always going to be a competition. These are actually too big. Oh, there's a small one. Okay.
There's the little small, like white and yellow one.
White and yellow. Oh, I've seen. Yeah, those are garbage.
It's not. Oh, you're worried about the lifespan of the projector you're going to put inside of your RC car computer?
You're going to have to cut a hole in it, though. So
obviously,
it can shine. Then it's not. No, you can't cut a hole in it.
I mean,
you should make it so it's like on one of those so it like pops out of the top, right? So it looks like it's what?
I mean, the whole side of mine might come down. You never know.
Oh boy, here we go. Right, because you're making it look like a PC. Oh shoot, that's actually a good idea. I can't do that though. Mine doesn't work like that.
Right, yours has a very special frame. Mine maybe. Yeah, there's. I'm just mad.
Again.
I'm just mad at this point that I basically have to disassemble the entire thing that I've built already.
Yeah, mine's quite modular, so I just pulled the bottom off.
Yeah. Mark says you could project flying cars on the wall behind you during the live streams.
Yes, that's a great idea.
Use the circle maker as a hole cover. Yes.
Michael Endman on my channel here says he's got a Grand Hauler that has a 34-inch chassis.
See, he knows what's up.
Wow. I'm gonna make it. Yeah, RCing Around America suggested that I just have the doors open up, and that's how the projector shoots out. Because mine has doors on it. Does yours have doors?
So does mine, of course.
Oh, okay.
So.
All right. Let's wrap this one up for tonight. Thank you, everybody, for watching.
Yes.
Thank you to Tony Phalen from Tamiya for coming on the show and talking Tamiya with us for a little while. Hope you guys are jazzed as we are about this next challenge. We think it's going to be a lot of fun.
Or if not, just at least humor us for our excitement.
Yeah, please humor us because we're so excited about this. It's kind of blending my two favorite things right now, RCs and PCs.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Thank you, everyone.
Exactly. Thank you for joining us. Great times.
Thanks to Quack RC, Perry G, and Moose Jaw RC for the donations. Much appreciated. You guys are the best.
Quack RC, Jeremiah, Sal Berg, Pleco Nation, RC Patina Guy, and Moose Jaw. So, appreciate it. Yeah. We will see you guys next Wednesday on this, as well as the rest of the days a week that we make videos.
Big and Cool RC School, thank you for checking in. And your shout out is shouted.
You've been shouted.
Yeah.
All right. Later, guys.
You've been shouted. Bye, guys.